Hi, welcome to episode 13 of... Oh, that's unlucky.
Only if you're superstitious.
Episode... Yeah, well, I'm not. Well, maybe a bit. Episode 13 of Music Is None of Our Business. I can't believe we actually made 13 episodes. Plus the Keith supplement as well. It's insane. And people are still listening as well. So that's even more ridiculous. So tonight the criteria is female-fronted bands. So just basically bands with a female singer. They can be all girl bands as long as they've got the main singer is a she. So do you think we'll cross over at all?
It's an interesting one. I think there's one kind of possible, and there's one that's a very, very remote but possible. And I think the others probably not. What are you thinking?
Yeah, there's maybe one. I don't know. I don't really know your. When it comes to female fronted bands, I'm not really sure where you'd go. Okay. That's more. I don't know. I mean, I've done mine. I have actually done mine chronologically.
Okay, chronologically, as in when they formed, or when you thought?
Yes. No, when they formed,
okay.
just for shits and giggles, really.
Okay. I've got no order at all, other than just as I put them down.
Would you like to go first?
I'm happy
this
to do
week?
so.
Because I think, yes. Okay, over to you then.
Okay, well, hello and good day to you all, listeners. As Dave's explained, we're doing lead women on band kind of situation. This first one...
Fuck me, that was a bit of a word salad.
It was terrible, yeah, so I'm just trying to get into gear. That
was very, very Trumpian, that was.
Oh, no. It was a mess. I hadn't prepared for what I was going to say. It just caught me unawares. Anyway, I'm sitting waiting to speak and I hadn't prepared how I was going to start. Oh dear. So, first one I have, the lead lady in this band is a lady with a fabulous name, Yana Trance. And Yana Trance is one half of a duo, a couple in fact, John Gill being the other. And Yana and John together come roaring down the quarter-mile drag strip as Big Stick.
Oh, Big Stick.
Big Stick. Fucking fabulous band. Fabulous.
Yes.
First time I heard them, 1985, John Peel, and he played their first single. I can't remember whether it was whether it was Drag Racing that they played or Hell on Earth. Two sides of that single. Both tracks are absolutely brilliant, and he did actually end.
Well, they were on Blast First.
Blast First. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And John Peel put Drag Racing in his special box of 100 all-time favourites, which might surprise some when you hear it, because the sound, the sonic structures, the collision of Yana's voice amid swirling vortices of guitar and samples and arrhythmic pounding drums, it's glorious. I'd never heard anything like it before, and it remains one of the best records I've got. The Drag Racing Underground, the Drag Racing 12-inch. After Drag Racing, they followed up in 1987, so it was quite a big gap, and they came up with another EP, Crack Attack, and again, really abrasive, and it's discordant trash drumming, and just fragmented, repeated vocals. Again, you know, for all of the bands that deal in noise and electronics and guitars and samples, there's nothing else like this. Because it sounds, a lot of it, like six people recording a track and none of them can hear each other, because even the timing is some of it. I mean, one of the tracks on Crack Attack, Billy Jack Paddywhack, has a pulsing bass rhythm, which is an electronic pulse that is the spine of that track, but everything else of it is in a different time, a different speed, almost as if nobody can hear that, and it doesn't matter if we're all going at different speeds. All this electronic shrapnel and disjointed percussion, it sounds hideous chaos, and to some extent it is, but it's really, really shit hot hideous chaos. The first album of sorts, a mini album, is a 6-track mini album, 10-inch, called Hoochie Coo Time. It's a terrific record, but one of the things that Big Stick started to demonstrate a tendency for is that they would put out records put out tracks on lots of different records. So you'd pick up a record, there's some great tracks, and then the next album that comes along, it's got all those tracks on it plus some more. So it's a bit of an odd approach, but who cares? Most of Hoochie Coo Time, the 10-inch, in fact, appears on a 1990 album release called Hedonist Chariot, and that wasn't even released as Big Stick. That was released as the Drag Racing Underground. So they changed their name entirely, but then went back to Big Stick again. So it's all a bit difficult to follow at times.
Bloody hell. Have you got all this written down?
Yes, it is. That's the thing. One of the defining tracks on both Hoochie Coo Time and Drag Racing Underground is a song called A Threat. And it is pretty much that. The first part of the song is a bunch of American redneck types issuing a threat that we will fucking kill any politician that messes with drag racing. And then the second, they sound like they mean it as well. And then the second part of the same track is the sound of dragsters and Yana and John and their mates just describing their dragsters. You know, I've got a 500 Hemi with alcohol injectors and it'll do the 6.2 quarter mile. They're very, very into dragsters. You know,
Jeepers.
I share that with them because whilst I'm not into sport at all, drag racing is a very different kettle of fish. You know, it's so... Yeah. Brutal, visceral, so amazingly over the top. It is totally redneck, but it's totally awesome. And when you and I talk about loud concerts, and we have been to some fucking loud concerts, they don't come close to the sound of a 10,000 horsepower nitromethane top fuel dragster doing 0 to 350 just feet away from you in 4 seconds. It's amazing. It's amazing. The first time I took my son drag racing, I said to him and his mate, teenagers, I said, "You are going to need ear defenders." "Fuck off, Dad. We're fucking hard. We are, men." When the first drag bike that started up, they both went pale and said, "Where do you get your ear defenders?" It's incredible. Excellent. Incredible. So they're really big into drag racing. Yana even did, I don't think she does it anymore, a drag racing podcast thing as well. So they're very much into drag racing. And absolutely brilliant. They did do a relatively recent album called LP, and that's a bit hit or miss. There's some great tracks on it, but there's some that you kind of think, what are you doing? And I think they're just doing whatever they want. There are a couple of dragster whores, if you like, and you know, they just do what they want. But it's all great. Love it.
Excellent. I actually know what a Hemi is. I was. The top of the cylinder is hemispherical, and it causes more combustion or something like that.
You see, you've been drag racing too, have you?
Not for a long while. I went with my dad years and years ago, and it was really fucking loud. Yeah, I've never quite heard anything like that in my life.
It is brutal. Yes. And it's just so. It is just very simple.
Santa pods.
Santa pods.
Santa pods. Yes. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I shall
Excellent.
Pick out a track, stick it on the playlist. But that's my number one, my opening female, Yana Trance and Big Stick.
Fabuloso. Well, my number one, as I said, these are chronological. So my number one are a band from formed in 1963.
I think it's in 1916.
1963, 1916. Yes, it was Kaiser Wilhelm's. 1963, and it's the Shangri-Las.
Oh, how about that?
I love the fucking Shangri-Las. I think the Shangri-Las are amazing. And weirdly, I've been listening to it today. I mean, for anyone who hasn't heard of the Shangri-Las, they were a American girl group formed, as I said, in '63. There were 2 sets of sisters. There was Mary Weiss, Mary Weiss, and her sister Betty. Mary was the main singer. And then there's some twin sisters, Marguerite Ganser, otherwise known as Marge, and Mary Ann Ganser. And they were active between 64 and 63, sorry, and 68. They split in 68. And weirdly, when we said girlfriend, the first band that came into mind for me was the Shangri-Las. I love the Shangri-Las. Okay. I've been listening to them today. I've listened. There's a CD called Myrmidons of Melodrama.
Oh, very historic.
And I thoroughly recommend it. It's got pretty much everything they ever did. And funnily enough, I hadn't quite clocked. They only ever did 2 LPs. Lots of singles, most of which I think were on those LPs. The most obvious one being Leader of the Pack, which was the start of the death songs craze, where boyfriends or girlfriends would die. I mean, there was Tell Laura I Love Her, I think Johnny Remember Me, all these 60s songs. But Leader of the Pack was the first one. And it's also got, you forget how many how many moments it has in it. From the first bit of the first words are, is she really going out with him? Which the Damned took for New Rose. Yeah. There are lots of sound effects of motorbikes revving. Allegedly, Billy Joel played piano on the track. Was a session musician. I don't think that's true. I think he actually played on a demo of a later hit, Remember Walking in the Sand. But it's just and it's easy to kind of dismiss it as a bit of schmaltzy, death obsessed pop music, but it's actually a really, really good song. And I was listening today and I forgot how it kind of made the hairs on my arms stand up having to listen to it. It's so sad. And Mary Rice's voice is just phenomenal. Yeah, good. I mean, gosh, she could sing. And then after Leader of the Pack, you had Remember Walking in the Sand. You've got Give Him a Great Big Kiss. Give Us Your Blessings, The Train from Kansas City. I mean, there's so many songs that you'd listen to them and you go, oh, I know that from that's the bloody Shangri-Las, and they split in 64. Both the sisters, the Ganser sisters, died relatively young, I think. Ironically, given the biggest hit was about death. But Mary Weiss, they all left music for a long while. I think they did a reunion, but Mary released an album in 2007 called Dangerous Game, which I had I re-listened to today as well because I hadn't heard it in a long while, and that's a cracking album. Her pipes aren't quite what they were when they started. I think she was 15.
Goodness,
they were all really young, young girls, so. Left this kind of, a total of probably 30 odd songs.
Is that all?
I think so, 30 to 40. There's not many more. Like I say, it was 2 LPs and a load of singles, so a few B-sides. But I think most of it was incorporated onto the. So this CD has 28 tracks on it altogether, and I think a couple of them are like duplicated because there's a stereo version. And kind of couple of demo versions and that. Right. But yeah,
that's surprising. You do think it's like 40 Towers. You do think there were many more than there were.
Yeah. But no, there's hardly any. But they've been played so much. I mean, and especially, I first heard Leader of the Pack in the early 70s on one of its re-releases. I think it got to number 1 again, and I remember seeing it on Top of the Pops. And yeah, amazing song, absolutely. It's just all-time classic song.
No doubt about it.
So I love the Shangri-Las. Got some vinyl. I went on a date a few years ago. Yeah, you wish. I went on a date a few years ago. The first date after my divorce, and and I didn't know what to take, so I took her a Shangri-La's.
Okay.
I took a Shangri-La's LP as a present, and she was proper chuffed as well. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure most people will admit, under pressure perhaps, if they're a bit too cool, but they'll admit that they do have an affinity with some of the music, that they do like the tunes, because they're great. They do get mentioned again a bit later in this podcast, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe not. Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, well, it's only a passing mention, but it's a mention.
Okay.
It's a mention to that will come up later. Anyway, okay, cool.
Okay, I won't spoil. No spoilers.
No spoilers. Number 2 for me. Then we're back into 21st century again, catapulted back, and we're back into a somewhat noisier environment. And this lady, Jill Dredd, is the leader of this band, and she is the leader because she formed the band with purpose, and she gathered the crew around her, and she sings and she plays guitar as well. So she is more than simply the vocalist in this band. So Jill Dredd, she's a singer guitarist. She formed the band. The band are Bruxa Maria. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Okay.
No, you've stumped me. First time ever.
It's not the first time ever. It's close to.
I'm totally stumped.
Bruxa Maria, so fantastic band. They've not been around. I think they formed 2016 or 2018. Actually, it might have been even later than that. So they've not been around a long time. And it's Jill Dredd, as I say, doing all the front work. Paul Anthony on drums. Robbie Judkins on electronics and synths, and Dave Cochran on bass. And Dave Cochran
was in Head of David
and Sweet Tooth and God and Terminal Cheesecake.
Of course, should have known.
But no, that aside, so Jill formed this band. She'd been in another band which fell apart, but she spent a lot of her time driving other bands around Europe, and I think she still does when she's not touring or doing stuff with Bruxa Maria. I think she really gets a kick out of that. And they're influenced by a range of different bands, But Old Surfers, Melvins, No Means No, Motorhead as well. So again, some flavour of the ferocity of these musics that she produces. First album, Human Condition, is a fabulous noise indeed. Regrettamin, which I'll put on the playlist, is a relentless thrash of a song, but it's not punk. Like, they get called noise rock and noise punk. I don't really know, but it's not punk as you'd think of it. Some of it is. The first track on Human Condition sounds a bit kind of like anarcho punk, but it's really not like that. And subsequent albums and singles have all been brilliant. I did a split release with Casual Nun, and then in 2020 The Maddening is a great album. Best album so far is their latest one. I think it's the latest one as far as I know, 2023, Build Yourself a Shrine and Pray. It's awesome, but none of it's on Spotify. Or last time I looked, it wasn't on Spotify, but it is superb. There is a video for a song from this album. It's Dance Like Vasily, and it is not only a stunning song, but the video really works as well. So you've got to put a link to that on. It's Dance Like Vasily. It is very fucking good. Strangely enough, you can say something? No. Yeah,
I'm stroking the cat.
Okay. Strangely enough, in an interview, Jill, who kind of said a lot about the kind of music she makes, she's very very pained by all of the hate and the anger and the people trying to control each other in the world, as many of us are. And she says she just wants people to relax a bit, which is fair enough. Fuck knows how you'd relax a bit listening to her records, because it ain't ambient. It ain't anything like that. But it is fantastic, and it is well worth listening to. It's a real shame that there isn't any of the latest album on Spotify. But if you listen to and watch that video, and I'll put something else on the playlist as well. I think they're an awesome band and just getting better and better and better. So definitely Jill Dredd for me, my number 2 there.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I haven't heard of them. It's probably because they're kind of quite a new band. I would imagine. Yeah, I would. They sound like they would have been in like one of the magazines, like Viva Rock. I would imagine they're
Possibly.
featured in
I think
that.
I found them because I got an email from Riot Season Records, and they were releasing
okay.
one, and I thought, well, it sounds good from the write up, and yeah, wow.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So my number two. Are a band formed in 1974.
Oh, you are stretching back into the mists of time, aren't you?
The lead singer is, I would say, probably the most famous female lead singer ever.
Wow.
She's probably had a photo in more magazines than anyone else. I would guess. Do you want to take a punt?
I would think Madonna was never in a band, so it can't be Madonna. No. And that's far too early. 1974, she's been there.
So they got big in their first LP was 76, second LP 78, massive LP 78 as well.
Oh,
come on!
I know I should. I feel like
you'll kick yourself.
I will. Yeah.
Okay. The lead singer's name was Debbie Harry.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
You twat! Honestly, I mean, I just couldn't see how I could, in all honesty, have a list of best female without Blondie. I'm a massive Blondie fan.
Oh, absolutely brilliant! Yeah.
Earlier Blondie. So formed in 1974, Debbie Harry was a cocktail waitress, come Playboy bunny. She'd been in a band called The Wind in the Willows that hadn't got anywhere. Started Blondie with her boyfriend Chris Stein, and then recruited. Let me see. I didn't write this down. Clem Burke, Nigel Harrison. Clem Burke was a drummer. Nigel Harrison on bass. Jimmy Infanti on guitar. Gary Valentine on.
This Jimmy Destry
on. Is Jimmy Destry? I'm pretty sure Valentine. Gary Valentine was on the keyboards, and then Jimmy Destry took over on keyboards. Okay. I could be wrong. If anyone wants to correct me, fuck off.
I don't care.
So their first album was Blondie, released in 76. Second album, Plastic Letters, that's when they started to take off. So Blondie had Ex-Offender, Rip It to Shreds, early singles. And then Plastic Letters obviously had Denis, which was the big... that was the one that kind of launched them, really, I think. I was cracking pop single. Yeah. Although it is actually Dennis. It's not, but Dennis, it doesn't really tell you. Dennis, you always take the piss. I mean, that's, Denise is a bit...
It's not going to work.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So, the Denise, that was a cover version, funnily enough.
Okay.
Denise.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, cover version. I can't remember who did it. As was Hanging on the Telephone. That was a cover version as well. Moving on to Parallel Lines in 1978, and the all-time smash, Heart of Glass, was on that, But in the meantime, you'd had Touched by Your Presence, Dear. You'd had Denis, the first few singles, Hanging on the Telephone. But I think Heart of Glass was the big disco smash.
Detroit 442. Yes.
The Detroit 442. Yeah. Hey baby, got a thing for you.
Yeah.
That was a B-side. Yeah. That was on Plastic Letters, I think. Detroit 442, but also on the B-side. And then followed Parallel Lines with Eat to the Beat, which good. I think had Union City Blue,
My
Atomic.
Favourite.
Yeah, mine too.
Is it?
Yeah, Union City Blue.
Union City of a panoply of fantastic songs. Union City Blue just tips it for me.
Absolutely.
Wow,
yeah. Same here. Yeah. And then you had Auto American, and I think that's when it started going a bit downhill for me.
Yeah.
And then The Hunter was just dog shit, really. I didn't like that at all.
I couldn't tell you off it.
I think they made a comeback recording wise. I mean, I don't think they've really been away too long live wise. They did that. Was it No Exit? The LP, but they did Maria. That was a great single.
It's okay,
but I don't think anything else. They've never hit those heights again. But I mean, Debbie Harry was just amazing. I mean,
she is
the most beautiful woman in the world at that time. I think everyone would agree. On pictures of her on every schoolboy's wall, and
Pollinator.
And she was just, but she was awesome. Pollinator, yes, that's right.
I was trying to think what the last album I got was. Pollinator's okay. Because I bought that. I don't know if you've heard it. I bought it. They were on Sky Arts playing live in Berlin, like in the show live in Berlin. And I thought, well, I'll watch it because it's Blondie, and it was actually pretty bloody good. So I bought Pollinator, and there's some bloody cracking tracks on there.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them play on the TV at Glasgow last year, and she's just about got it. I mean, she is old now. I mean, she must be well under her 70s. But she can still belt a tune now. She's had to kind of modify her style on a few songs. But yeah. I mean, you just can't, like I say, you just can't have a list of, female fronted bands without Blondie. I don't think they just were everywhere in the late 70s, early 80s. As I say, her picture was everywhere, and the songs were fantastic. I mean, those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LPs, 4 LPs. The first 4 LPs are just peerless. I mean, absolutely amazing.
It's so well produced, and so well put together, so finely crafted. And Clem Burke, speaking as a drummer, Clem Burke was my hero because he was brilliant, but he wasn't showy brilliant. It wasn't full of fucking great big drum solos and so on, but what he played was quietly brilliant. It was fantastic. Yeah.
He played a gig with the Ramones. He was Elvis Ramone for one gig, and apparently it was a fucking disaster.
Oh really?
So he never played again. He also, I think he played a few when Blondie weren't doing much. He played a few gigs with the Blondie tribute band as well, if I remember.
Oh, okay.
Right. Oh God, I've said if I remember right.
I do remember reading he played with a few different bands. Surprisingly, I think like you say, when Blondie wasn't active, he just had to keep playing. He just had to be out there playing. He just loved it, I think.
Yeah, I had at one point I had 68 Blondie 7-inch singles from all over the world. Just collected them, and I sold them. I sold the whole lot and paid probably half of a holiday for me and Annie to Gran Canaria a few years ago.
So you got a load of Japanese imports and stuff, yeah?
Yeah, Japanese imports. I had I just done from American, Bolivian, I had a Mexican one. I had Spanish ones, a Yugoslavian. Yeah. I just used to collect them. I mean, they're all relatively cheap when I bought them.
Yeah.
When I sold them, they hadn't exactly rocketed. Unlike my collection of Jam singles, I had a massive collection of Jam singles. I sold them and made a bloody fortune.
Are you sure it wasn't a collection of Jam?
It may have been, yes. It was. It was all mainly seedless, but yeah. I don't really know what else to say about Blondie. I mean,
how many times did Parallel Lines go platinum? That just sold in enormous numbers.
Yeah,
because you got Heart of Glass, but you got Sunday Girl on there as well. Yeah. What were the other singles on that?
Hanging on the Telephone was on Parallel Lines.
11:59 is the best one on there. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Eat to the Beat, you had Shayla was on Eat to the Beat.
Shayla's good. Was that on Eat to the Beat?
I love that song. Or was it on Auto American?
It wasn't on Auto American.
I haven't done my research again.
Shayla was on Eat to the Beat. Yeah, I'm sure. I think it was.
Yeah, because Eat to the Beat. Also, I'm pretty sure Eat to the Beat was the first album to have an accompanying album of videos. They made a video for every single track, and I think Channel 4 showed it. It wouldn't have been Channel 4 that time. Somebody showed the whole thing back to back, all the whole lot of videos. They were great. Yeah,
I think they got a lot of. What was it? Cuckoo, that they had a great deal of stick for the cover because the cover artwork was done by Geiger, wasn't it? Who did
That's right. Yeah, that was her first. That was her first solo LP.
Yeah.
because she did a couple of solo LPs. Because Cuckoo was okay, and the one after that was the one that had "I Want That Man" on it. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head. I definitely did research that because that was a completely different thing. That had nothing to do with the band. That was a solo, so I didn't need to. But yeah, so Blondie.
Yeah, great. I think they nearly made one of my previous podcasts, and I can't remember which one it was, but they were on the list, and I didn't put them on.
We did a female singers one.
It might have been there. It might have been Debbie Harry nearly made it on that list of mine. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but she's great. I mean, because she's got such a voice as well. I think that was the thing that you kind of got blindsided by a bit. You kind of forget because it was a lot of it was about the image. There's no getting away from that, But if the songs hadn't stacked up, they wouldn't have got where they were, and they were some brilliant songs. And as we say, Union City Blue, what a song!
Just amazing,
amazing.
Yeah, and the video as well, the way it's swooping around on the dockside.
Yes, they're on that pier, aren't they? In New York somewhere.
Yeah, fantastic. Truly excellent choice there.
Thank you.
Choice. We're back up to the 21st century and a load of racket again with me.
Oh my god! So ABBA's not going to feature in your list, I assume.
No, it's not all like this, but for some obscure reason, the first three were all somewhat noisy. So the singer, and again, I think the person who formed this band. Well, it was the person who formed this band. So she formed and sings Helena Hiltunen, and from Finland, and she formed this band because she'd been a backing singer for a while in various other bands, and she felt that she was up to the job of getting up to the front of the stage. And she certainly is. And her Finnish band is called Koti Tahawa. And I don't know, again, if you're familiar with them. From Helsinki.
The name rings a bell.
I did mention them to you.
Absolutely no.
I did mention them to you probably a couple of years ago, maybe a bit longer. I did mention you got to listen to Koti Tahawa. And I just assume that I'm pronouncing that correctly because it's Finnish and it looks like Koti Tahawa. I've never heard anybody say it though, who is well placed to be qualified to say it. But
do you want to try a couple of other pronunciations just in case? Might be entertaining.
Koti Tahawa. Yeah, I'll practice some later and I'll just put a selection in so somebody can point out the best one. But
you're in charge of editing, so if you do find out this, you can go back and put it. But mind you, that then make all their subsequent jokes a bit pointless. So yeah, just fucking leave it.
They just be me talking, and then suddenly this completely different voice from Google Translate or something. AI. Nobody will notice. Oh dear. But yeah, Koti Tahawa from Helsinki, and they are as just a fierce fucking hardcore punk band, totally anarcho punk band. They have grievances with all of the same subjects: social decay, capitalism, the government control, and so on. It's a bit strange because repeatedly, year after year after year, the population of Finland, the happiest population, or one of the happiest populations in the world, year after year, along with Iceland
Apart
and Canada.
From the lead singer of Koti Tahawa,
these people don't sound happy at all. I don't know what's happened to them, but they're not happy. I think it's just they don't like the cold. I don't know. But they are a hardcore punk band, so you can.
Their first album, "Fuck Me, I'm Freezing." That's a bit of a good Sven, Where's My Coat? Track 2.
Yeah, caught between polar bears and Russians. I suppose it could get quite trying. Yeah. But they are more than just an anarcho punk band because the musicianship is fantastic and there are key changes and chord changes and quite a lot of complexity to it. But every time I put on a Koti Tahawa record, I smile because she's so fucking angry, and I think it helps that I can't understand the words she's saying because it is completely an alien language, and even the bits and pieces of Nordic that I could pick out, it's going so fast and buried under such noise you couldn't work it out at all. It's absolutely ferocious. it's not a lot to say. They've only done 3 albums and 3 EPs, all of which I own, all of which are fantastic. When I was reviewing this, I came across a review of one of their albums called Imisen Kasvot, I think. Something like that. They were reviewed in Maximum Rock and Roll, and the reviewer just said everything.
I've just translated that, and it's can you turn the heat up, please? I'm freezing my tits off. Yes.
Not fish again. But the reviewer in Maximum Rock and Roll just said everything about this album is so fucking awesome. There's not a lot I can say about them. They're just mad, raw, energetic. Really good at what they do. Anarcho-punk, but don't just think of them as one of the anarcho-punk bands. They are something special in their own right.
Cool. I will definitely check them out.
Good.
Yeah. I'll start the first album. Oi, as the boiler packed up again, and
God bless him. God bless him.
Oh dear. Yeah, it could be. Who knows? Who knows? I just like the way you said I couldn't quite pick up anything in Nordic, as if you fucking would. I mean,
I could speak a bit of Icelandic for a while. I learned Icelandic.
All right.
Before the first time I went to Iceland, I was determined, and most times when I go somewhere, I want to speak some of the language. But I really got into Icelandic and took a lot of lessons and everything, so I could speak it. And I got out to Iceland the first time. No fucker wanted to speak Icelandic. They all want to practice their English. So you don't get anywhere. And having no one else to speak to, I didn't bother anymore. So the bits and pieces, and I think the Scandi languages and all.
You didn't kind of try and get Björk's phone number so you could have a chat.
Yeah, can I make some little noises in the background, Björk? If I was going to make any noises, I don't think it would be like that.
I was just trying to think of the Björkian noises I could possibly do.
Millions of Björk fans around the world are scratching their head.
Yes. Fucking hell. Smashing my head. Oh dear. Brilliant.
Björk. Oh dear.
Yes. So we did Björk, didn't we? Did you?
Yeah, I got it.
That was in female singers,
that was one
wasn't
that
it?
I did choose. Yes. Yes. Brilliant.
Yes. Okay. That was your number 3, wasn't it? Well, my number three is a bit of a was a kind of last minute one, because I was listening to this in the car. So I had to drive Lily back to university, so I had to drive down to London. Fucking hate driving in London. Anyway, I was listening to Gary Crowley's punk and new wave compilation. You know, it's got some pretty obscure stuff, and it had this band on, and I kind of thought, do I love this LP? And it's a band called The Photos. They were a power pop band, kind of in the midst of punk. They came out of punk, formed they were new wave power pop.
So this is kind of formed early 80s, is it still?
This was 1980.
Okay.
The guys in the band, The Photos, had been in a band called Satan's Rats, and there was always I remember Satan's Rats because Keith Records. Keith had a Satan's Rats single in the punk box.
Oh, really?
And it was in there for fucking ages, and no one ever bought it. Yeah,
it's a terrible name.
It is a terrible name. Yeah, it's more heavy metal than punk.
Is.
And then anyway, so they got rid of they dumped their vocalist from Satan's Rat and auditioned a girl called Wendy Wu.
Oh, I know the name Wendy Wu.
Yeah, Wendy Wu with WU was the surname.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real name, but and released some singles and then this album, and the album is just fucking brilliant. And so anyway, they played. There's a track called Barbarellas. This was on the compilation, which then I thought, I love this song. It's so fucking good. And then, which kind of then made me think, actually, that album was really good. So I was kind of driving through London, looking at the road, trying to find the photos on Spotify.
Oh dear!
So I played it, and it was a brilliant. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to bung it in. And then I got home and I looked up the photos on Spotify, and none of the songs that I remember them for were ever singles. Barbarella's was never a single, and Barbarella's was about there used to be a punk club in Birmingham called Barbarella's, and they closed it down, and so I was a big clatter because the cats just knocked something off the bloody side. I'll throw some out in a minute. Yeah. They closed Barbarella's down, and this is about Barbarella's being closed down. The first song is "Do You Have Fun," which is just classic, and then Irene is the second track, and I just assumed they were all singles because they're that good, and they weren't. There was an EP, there was a Photos EP, which I think had two of those tracks on it, but none of them were the lead single.
Yeah, right.
And then they lasted a couple of years, recorded another LP. It was never released, and they split up, and that was it, really. Okay. But they left this fantastic power pop LP. And power pop's a weird kind of genre, because it was never one thing or the other.
No, I think it always fills me with some trepidation when somebody announces a band is power pop. I think I'm not going to like this.
Me too. But I always used to feel like that, but I did get a couple of power pop compilations, and kind of thought, actually, they're really good. Okay. It's kind of, I think it was like new wave. It was bands coming through punk and new wave who'd listened to the Beatles. That was the impression I always got about power pop. Okay. They wanted to be the Beatles, but a bit supercharged the Beatles with noisy guitars, possibly. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot more to say about the Photos, I'm afraid.
I was going to say the Beatles on cocaine, but that is the Beatles, really, isn't it?
That was later. The Beatles on acid. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the last 5 LPs. But yeah, I would just say to everybody, have a listen to the Photos LP, because it's well worth a listen. Just got some classic singles in it. Yeah, power pop was a big.
I was just going to say, I don't know why the name Wendy Wu strikes me as very familiar, but I don't know a single Photos song.
Well, without being too sexist, she was a very, very good looking girl, and they played on that, and she was kind of foisted on the music weeklies as like the British Debbie Harry, really.
Okay.
Sexy young girl fronting a power pop band. And so her photos were all over the place for the duration of the band.
I don't know if it's that. I don't think it might actually be. I think there's a global tour company that's run by somebody called Wendy Wu, and I was looking to go back to Asia somewhere, and I think Wendy Wu do tours there. So it might be that, actually, nothing to do with Photos or indeed music.
That's just you just spoiled the whole fucking thing, really, haven't you? Now I'm just sitting there thinking, why do I fucking bother? Why do I bother? I give this massive explanation, and you're thinking of some fucking tour company.
It's better thinking of it as a tour company than thinking about it just because she was a good-looking woman, a good-looking babe.
It was more the fact that she was everywhere. I think the NME record mirror sounds, they had pictures of her all the bloody time, right. Because that was how it was. It was sexy girls fronting bands in the, that was the whole thing before we kind of got enlightened. Yeah. Really.
And now she's a sexy girl running the global tour company.
Yeah, quite possibly. It may well be her. I mean, she must be what? She must be 60. She must be nearly in her 70s now.
Not so too old to be winning it.
Did.
Yeah.
Perhaps she did, yeah. So that was a brief number 3. the photos, find the album, have a listen. I'm going to stick Barbarella's because Barbarella's is, and it also rhymes Barbarella's with fellas at one point as well. So, I mean, how can you doubt the brilliance of that? Really,
indeed, remarkable. Okay, so that's your number 3. So my number 4 then. This one you'll know. This is one that I thought might have been a crossover. I thought Brooks and Maria was my outside possibility one. I think this one was more possible, but it was still less than 50-50. And it's a band fronted by Beth Gibbons. And it is, of course...
no, Portishead.
It is, yes, Portishead.
Yes.
So,
or Rustin Man could have been Rustin Man. That was her second. Well, that was the one she did.
Yeah, she's done some solo stuff as well, and but Portishead is.
So just showing off now.
Because you can.
Just for a change. Just
for a change, yes. So Portishead formed in 1991. Beth Gibbons on vocals, Jeff Barrow and Adrian Utley, named after an area in Bristol called Portishead on the south.
No way.
It is. You wouldn't have guessed that, would you? On the south bank of the Severn Estuary.
I thought it was called Portishead, and someone had scraped some of the paint off the sign, and they misread it as Portishead.
Oh,
but obviously not. No.
It's an unusual place. I don't know if you've ever been to Portishead. It's an unusual place.
I've not even been to Bristol. I drove past it once on the way to Cornwall, but yeah.
Okay, well, it's quite a bleak place. It's not a very large place, Portishead, but a company I used to work for had a depot just up the road in Avonmouth, and used to go to Portishead from time to time. Very bleak. We were setting up a depot there, and I think it's the only place where I've interviewed a murderer for a job.
Excellent. What was the job? Murderer?
It wasn't. Sadly, it wasn't.
So
murderer.
was he overqualified?
No, he was sadly. They did offer him the job in the end because he'd done 16 years, and it was a crime of passion. He'd blown his wife and her lover away with a shotgun, and done 16 years, and now he just wanted to get himself back on track and so on. So. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Portishead. Portishead, the band. Then.
Yes.
So in the early 90s in Bristol, there was a scene developing, and there were bands like Massive Attack and Tricky, and this Bristol trip hop scene that was developing around them, which was a mix of electronica and blues and pop, and it all felt like it was being played in a smoky club at the end of the night, and it was all a bit kind of down tempo and very atmospheric, and lots of scratching and liberal sampling, and the songs were kind of melancholic torch songs really, but had so much emotion. Beth Gibbons' voice with her fragility and her humanity really did work really well with this style of music, and it was one of those things we've talked about before with a lot of ambient music where artificial surface noise was created to give that extra level of authenticity and give it that extra organic feel, which really did work. And as we've said before, it just went on and found its way into all kinds of different music. I think it was a guy called Andy Pemberton who coined the term trip hop, I believe, and he was a journalist for Mixmag, and Mixmag was published by EMAP, who I used to work for, which was why I had a great big stack of Mixmag magazines, and Performance Bike and Motorcycle News and Bike and FHM magazines, because
Readers' Worlds.
No, and EMAP didn't publish any of those, but it was a very interesting place to work, a very happening place. So Portishead then, so their first album, Dummy, is brilliant, and it really kind of made a mark from the very outset. Great sound, great production, gorgeous dark music, and this tortured vocal running throughout it all. I didn't think so much to the second album. I think they lost their way a bit, thin and scratchy and got a little bit noisy, but 2008's third album, just called Third, is for me an absolutely fucking rip-roaring album again. They really got some innovative stuff, some novel stuff going on there, and they've got a lot of their original sense of emotion in there that I think they'd lost on the second album.
Do you know? I don't ever remember listening to the third
Oh,
album.
it's
I'm
great.
sure I
Yeah,
have,
it's great.
but I love the first album so much, and I didn't
Yeah.
think very much of the second
No.
album either. And I think maybe that's why perhaps I never really put any effort into finding the third album. I'll have to give it a listen.
You should do,
because
because it was worth
the live album's really good as well, isn't it?
At Roseland Park.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
I saw the video of that as well, and I thought, there's no way they're going to be able to do this live with the same feeling, the same balance. But they really did.
Yeah.
But third is definitely worth a listen. It is a really good album, and they got, as I say, some interesting experimental things on there. There's a track called "The Rip," where they've extended Gibbons' voice a single kind of note, and it just rolls and rolls and rolls. It's a loop without any joins. It's great, fantastic. I haven't listened to any of her solo stuff much. I did listen to her 2019 album with the Polish National Orchestra, where she
that was brilliant. That was
really.
Yeah.
She very bravely takes on Henryk Górecki's Third Symphony, and she sings it in Polish.
Have you heard Colin Stetson's version?
Yeah, I've got Colin Stetson's version.
Fucking brilliant.
It's
as well.
good.
Yeah.
The Beth Gibbons one is good. The Colin Stetson's one's
I
good.
really liked Beth Gibbons' version.
None of them are as good as the breathtakingly awesome version of Dawn Upshaw, David Zinman, and the London Sinfonietta, because the soaring majesty of Dawn Upshaw's voice, once you've heard that, go into the frail fragility, the tortured emotional voice of Beth Gibbons. It doesn't work. Maybe if I'd heard Beth Gibbons first, it would have done. But
Dawn Upshaw, did you say?
Dawn Upshaw, and then the London Sinfonietta with David Zinman conducting. But yeah, great. Not obviously as noisy and clattery as the Colin Stetson version, which is clearly intentionally taking it off piste a bit. But they're all good. I mean, Górecki's Third Symphony is a majestic piece of music anyway, whatever way you cut it.
I'd not heard it before I heard Colin Stetson's version, and I liked that because it reminded me of Mogwai.
Doing that's
despite the fact that he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing saxophone. It just had this mogwiness to it. That's what attracted me to it. But but the Beth Gibbons version is amazing. I haven't heard the other one, but I will.
Yeah, should. I mean,
her album from last year was really good as well.
Is that Lives Outgrown?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah,
I really like that. In fact, I think I got that.
Okay.
I've got one over there somewhere.
She is a talent. There's no doubt about it, and I think
totally,
the guys as well. One of them, I don't know which one it was, went off to form the Beak, didn't he? He plays as
that was Jeff. I think that was Jeff Barrow.
Yeah,
because he also runs Invader Records, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they're the ones who put out Gazelle Twin. Oh, I didn't put Gazelle Twin on my list. Spoilers.
And that could come in the next one.
I think I've done Gazelle Twin before anyway. But yeah, she's on Invader. Invader released some really, really good stuff. I'll tell you what else Jeff Barrow did. He did an album called Drock. I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Barrow. It was one or two of Portishead, and the album Drock was the soundtrack for an imaginary Judge Dredd movie.
I think I listened to that. It's
all kind of synths, all kind of synths for kind of almost industrial, but for the whole Mega City 4, Mega City 1, where so I'm getting my Mega Cities mixed up now.
You did there, but you did it.
Mega City 1 is the one where Judge Dredd patrolled, wasn't it? And this was a soundtrack for that, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was a great LP.
Oh, I didn't like it as much.
Well, you fucking wouldn't, would you? Just because I fucking did.
You're so intolerant. You're a dictator. You're a fucking musical despot. That's what you are. A musical crackpot.
Like the things I like. God damn it.
That's what's wrong with our society. You are what's wrong with our society incarnate.
Yes, I'm a dictator.
You are a dictator. Potato.
I'm Trumpian.
Only half as addled as Dr. Trump. Yes. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, I think most people will have heard of Portishead. I think, like you, picking Blondie. I think there's lots of obscure bands that you can pick, but sometimes the mainline ones are just fantastic, and there's no getting away from it.
Oh, I have found that I've gone very kind of mainstream. Oh, I mean the photos are quite obscure, but that was a the last minute addition.
Who did they
But
push
the other
out?
two, I they pushed out Pauline Murray and the Invisible Girls,
Oh wow!
but only
Oh.
because I find it hard to actually articulate how much I love Pauline Murray and the Invisible Girls, and because I always leave everything till the last fucking minute before I do any research and
You
notes.
run out of
I
superlatives.
just yeah, I mean I will get that because that is one of the greatest LPs ever made in my
It'll
opinion,
come round somewhere.
and I will try and it is really it is a really really it was one of my favorite albums of all time, and I really want to do it justice if I'm going to talk about it.
That's the
And I
problem,
don't,
isn't it?
yeah,
When you come
yeah,
across an album or a band you really like, and you think I can put them on this list, and you think no, because they won't. I can do
abs-
better with another list with this band.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I will put them on at some point. I mean, I really, I mean, obviously, Exmel Deutschland should be on any list I ever do, but I covered them so often
It's
that
difficult. It's difficult. I mean, I've touched on Terminal Cheesecake a few times and Coil, but if they're the greatest bands that you know, and it's
yeah.
difficult. You
But
try to get.
also, I was also trying desperately hard not to make it the greatest bands,
Yeah,
the greatest girl. I just want a snapshot of what I was thinking of at this time. And the first ones that just popped into my head. And just to get these bands a bit of, I mean, although we've only got 100 listeners or whatever at the best of times, it's just to kind of these more obscure ones. I just want people to have a listen and go, actually, they're really fucking good.
yeah.
That's a really good LP. My number 4 is an English post-punk group, originally formed in 1980 in I think it was Hatfield Hearts. And you know this because the singer is one of my favourite singers of all time, and I've waxed lyrical about her to you before. No,
It's too
it's
late
no
in the
point.
evening.
It's no point. I'm never going to fucking. So my number 4 is a band called Marine Girls,
Ah,
and as I just tried to explain to Jake, formed in 1980 by two sixth form school friends, Gina Hartman and Tracy Thorne. They were later joined by Jane Fox and her sister Alice on vocals and percussion, and released some kind of lo-fi, kind of almost Young Marble Giants type music, recorded in a shed, and caught the eye or the ear of John Peel, who got them in for a session. They then recorded their first album, Beach Party, and released on In Phase Records by Dan Treacy of the Television Personalities. And from the very first time I heard them, I absolutely fell in love with Tracy Thorne's voice. I just thought it was a wondrous thing. I mean, back then it was more you could see the potential in her voice. She shared vocals with I think with Gina or Jane, and there was a absolute difference between the songs on which each member of the band sang on. So I got the album at Keith Records, Keith of Keith Records, ordered it for me. And within a week it was there. I took it home, listened to it, and I absolutely adored it. It was just so lo-fi. And there was a song called "Flying Over Russia," which was basically about being in a plane flying over Russia, and various other just kind of almost whimsical ditties, with the very barest of guitars, bass, and a lot of the percussion was just two sticks banged. In fact, if I remember, most of the percussion was two sticks banged together. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Tracy then moved to Hull to study at Hull University. The Marine Girls did release another LP, and that was about it, because then she met Ben Watt, and after recording a solo album called Plain Sailing, which is one of my favourite records. It was probably my favourite Tracy Thorn related record. Just glorious. Again, probably I think that was recorded in the same shed, and it's just her with a guitar. I think it's about 6 songs long, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I just love it. We used to play it. Another one I used to play to the girls to get them off to sleep at night. It's just a fantastic record. Recently re-released actually with some extra tracks that were never released at the time. And then, as I say, she met Ben Watt and they formed Everything But the Girl, and that was it. That's and the rest is history, as they say.
Did you still like? Did you still follow her, like her in Everything But the Girl?
Yes, kind of. I would always go back to Plain Sailing. That was my ultimate Tracy Thorn record. I just adored it. Absolutely. I still do. Still play it quite regularly. It's a fabulous record. I kind of kept up the jazzier bits left me cold at that time. I wasn't really ready for jazz to enter my life. I have to be honest. Although when Missing came out, I loved Missing. I still, that's a great, I mean, her voice in that is just amazing. And also the stuff she did with Massive Attack, Protection, is quite phenomenal as well. That is a great album. The remix, the dub version by Mad Professor is pretty fantastic as well. Right. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh man, he's done a couple of dub albums of Massive Attack stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, we're digressing a tiny bit, but yeah, I thoroughly recommend them. But yeah, so
what's Tracy Thorn doing now? Is she still
in Everything But the Girl? Right. Annoyingly, she's always shuts. Hang on, let me put my teeth in. She's always suffered from stage fright, so they haven't played live for years. But they've just started doing 3-night residencies at the Moth Club in Hackney. But getting a fucking ticket is a nightmare. You've got to have your finger on the button. I mean, last time I did it, I got one in my basket, and by the time I went to pay for it, it'd gone.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a bloody nightmare. So if you're listening, Tracy, please get me a ticket for one of the gigs.
Send one of your videos with a cat.
Yeah, I will. Yes, but yeah. So I mean, Missing is just it's that the bit that always gets me is the little that she does when I know that sounds awful, but it's just so. There's so much emotion in that little it's just man, I love that song. Absolutely love that song. But and her books are, she's done some autobiographies.
She's done some autobiographies.
I think she's done 4 books now. One is just a general story of her music career, Everything But the Girl, how they were on their arses. They'd been kicked off the label and were pretty much skint, and then all of a sudden Missing, the remix of Missing, just took off. And it's a lovely, I mean, it's one of those, it's a chapter in the book that you just want to read over and over again because it's so well written, and it's such a, it's kind of a yes kind of moment. She also did one about growing up in the 80s in Hatfield, which even as a boy I could relate to. I just totally got it. What she said, it's fantastically written. She then wrote one about singing in general and about stage fright, and just covered all that. And the last one was about her friendship with I think she's the female drummer of the Go-Betweens. I've probably got that wrong, but I haven't got around to reading it yet. I keep forgetting. But those definitely the autobiographical ones are just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I thoroughly recommend them. Yeah, really, really good. And also Ben Watt's actually written a book as well about. He had a really bad disease, didn't he? He nearly died. Yeah, I can't remember what it was now. Which is appalling. I didn't think I'd be talking about Ben Watt, so I didn't research. But yeah, he had this really kind of exotic disease, and no one knew what it was. and that was another reason that they were kind of off the radar for some time because he'd been so ill. But yeah, so I mean, Tracy Thorn, her voice is just amazing. I mean, I wouldn't even. I couldn't even describe. I couldn't even put into words how awesome her voice is. I definitely couldn't describe it. It's just pointless. You know, you just have to listen to her sing, and you know, and you'll get and kind of starting with the Marine Girls and working through her career, you can see how her voice, it just gets better and better and better. And they did a new LP last year. And kind of came out of the blue. They've been working on it for some time, and it was proper banging dance album. It was fucking brilliant. It was really, really good. Yeah, much better than you'd. You know, I love it when bands who've been away for a while, you know, and they've just about been written off for whatever reasons, and all of a sudden they come back with an absolute storm. It's like the Psychedelic Furs LP we were talking about last time. You know, all of a sudden, I was talking about, yeah. All of a sudden, they just pull one out, and you're like, "Fucking hell, that's amazing!" It was such a good LP. Yeah. So
I used to like Marine Boy. You know,
the series.
That was a great cartoon. That was.
Yeah. I remember watching that. Yeah.
I used to love that.
He used to eat that chewing
gum.
Yeah, Oxygum. That's right. Yes. And didn't he used to hang around with a dolphin?
He did, which was a bit peculiar, I
Fucking
suppose.
Weirdo.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes.
I don't really. I've never really listened to much of Tracy Thorn in any of her incarnations. I don't think. Although I know you've long been a fan, I suppose I should do, just to find out what all the fuss is about. But you know, the bits and pieces that I've heard, it's okay.
She's just got one of those voices. She did a cover of "I Don't Want to Talk About It."
Yeah.
A few years ago. Fuck me. You know, that was phenomenal as well. I mean, everything. She's one of those voices. I think the phrase is she could sing the phone book and make it sound good. Do you know what I mean? She's that good. She's probably she's well up there with my favourite female singers of all time. You know, definitely hovering around the number one spot. Yeah.
Hovering around in a plane over Russia. Maybe it was a helicopter.
Absolutely.
Helicopter over Russia.
We're flying over Russia, looking out where no man has seen, or something like that. I can't remember. If I had two sticks, I'd do the percussion.
To be honest, David, I don't
do the two cats.
I don't think the two sticks is going to add anything to your singing.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
Okay, good. Okay, my fifth and final one then.
Time for ABBA.
Time for ABBA at last. Here we go. It's Lena Martell. No, it's not Lena Martell. It's
fucking hell, that's going to be lost. That reference is going to be lost on everybody. I feel like you should actually.
Good job too.
I feel like you should actually explain who Lena Martell is.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to give her the space of time.
Google that one.
Google that one. Now, this is a band co-fronted by a lady by the name of Colleen Kinsella. And she does pretty much all the singing with her daughter Quinina Rose Kinsella, who joined the band after her birth. Obviously, after her birth, you wouldn't join it before your birth. She
introducing their fetal lead singer.
I'm sure it could be done. Oh dear.
Where would you put the microphone? That's the question.
You had to take the extra step, didn't you? You couldn't leave it to the imagination. Oh dear, Dave. No. Well, okay, so the band is Big Blood. So we've had Big Stick, but this is Big Blood from Portland, Maine. They formed in 2006, originally husband and wife duo of Colleen Kinsella and Caleb Mulkerin. And as I say, they had a daughter between them, Quinina Rose Kinsella, who joined them as a singer as well. And And Big Blood, very prolific, got lots and lots of records out, and almost all of them are available for whatever you want to pay for them on Bandcamp. And it's psychedelic folktronica experimentalism. They make a lot of their own instruments. They release it, a lot of it, on their own Don't Trust the Ruin label. And it's patently Americana, but it's Americana from a parallel universe. It's skewed and it's dark and it's quirky. One reviewer said that this group's muse snorts a ton of meth before commanding them to explore everything from chamber popera to Asian folk music to cosmic Appalachia. And it puts me, and this isn't the review anymore, it puts me in mind of those old American freak shows where you would go and walk around and there were deformed embryos in jars and so on. And I went to one of those when I was little.
As we like to call it.
I went to one in Spalding. My dad, mum and dad took me to one once. And I don't know why. And you'd never see it now.
Did you see something really horrific and realise you'd walked in?
It wasn't a fucking mirror. No. Oh God! But it's you just wouldn't get away with that now. But I can remember going, and it does make them up. But this music has that kind of feel to it. It's kind of. It's got ghastly under a veil of entertainment, but it is beautiful. It's warm, hazy, eerie, dark, skewed Americana, and the vocals drift through this off-centre music like ghosts in a half-forgotten memory. And a lot of the tunes, here we go, a lot of the tunes have something of the Shangri-Las or the Ronettes or the Shirelles in them. It's kind of like you've got that same tunefulness, that same tonality, and that same kind of that same vocal line structure as you got in those 60s girls bands, but it's wrapped up in a real lo-fi kind of sepia tinted age, if it was a photograph, alongside these experimental bits of electronic. But it's not in your face electronics. It's very much just part of an environment they create. One of my favourite albums of theirs, Radio Valkyrie 1905 to 1917, which I don't really know what that means. It's a double album, and again, I think it's one of those that you can get for pay whatever you want because they're very, very egalitarian. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful journey through this slightly fictional, perhaps hazy America. Do You Want to Have a Skeleton Dream is another favourite, and the young Quinina, I don't know how old she is at this point, and I don't know if you even pronounce it Quinina, it might be Canada or something like that, but she plays...
Oh, here we go with the pronunciations again. Fucking hell.
She plays drums, trombone, bass, guitar, and she sings. And quite a lot of the time, in between sounding like the Shangri-Las or the Shirelles, some tracks she just takes on the spirit of Kate Bush, and it could be Kate Bush singing it,
right,
albeit in a very lo-fi kind of way. But there's almost nothing at all on Spotify but for one album, and the album is.
I was just checking because I know the name, and I'm not quite sure.
You're not quite with it.
What I've heard of them, and right. I looked on Spotify, and there's fuck all on there. So
that
didn't help at all.
No, there's just one album, which is a split album with a local guitarist, the guitarist they knew from around Portland, called Mika Blue Smaldone. Again, if that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. But he does a couple of tracks, and then they do 3 tracks. His tracks are good, they're quite interesting, quite different. And then the Big Blood tracks, there were 3 of those, as I say. I'll put one of those on the playlist, The Queen and Her Court, which is a really good track, and it is as illustrative as you can have of a vast array of music in one track, but it gives you a flavour of what Big Blood are about. But I really like them. They're not noisy, they're not aggressive, they're not ambient, they're not anything that you would fix a genre around. They are just like Big Stick, just different. Maybe we should do a podcast of Bigs. Big Stick, Big Blood, Big Audio Dynamite,
Big Black, Big Brave,
Big Black, Big Baby, all kinds of bands, just big. And then we could do Little.
We could try. We could try.
I can't think of so many Little or Tiny. Princess Tiny Meat. There's one. Anyway, yes, we won't delve off into that particular long grass. There is my number 5, and well worth a listen.
Fabulous. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure I've listened to something. They definitely ring a bell, but I just can't think what it would have been. Whether I've picked something on Bandcamp or
one of the things.
How long have they been around?
2006, so quite a while. One of the things that I didn't appreciate until I was looking into their kind of background a bit is that Kinsella and Mulkerin actually appear playing accordion, vocals, dulcimer, guitar, piano, amongst other stuff, on the Swans album, The Seer, which I would never have guessed. And I hadn't read the liner notes for The Seer. I often don't read the liner notes to any record, but just looking into it, I thought, my God, they're on this record that I would never have expected to find them. A record that I have, and is a great record in itself. But it's strange, all these connections you uncover when you start looking into it.
Yeah, if you can only bother reading the liner notes.
If only it could be over 40 years, 40 years, where you've been able to quote the labels and the name of the third drummer and everything else. I don't know any of that stuff. It's just the music to me. So it's a challenge to me. You actually find something to say about some of these bands.
I can't. I can't go. Get by a record without reading all the. I like to have a good old read of what's what, who they thank, and who played what, and you have a quick squiz through the lyrics. I mean, the lyrics mean fuck all to me now because I just can't retain anything.
No.
I always like to read. I just like things like the Bob Stanley compilation LPs that we mentioned have such copious liner notes. Tell you everything you need to know about every single band that's on there. I find it quite fascinating.
To give you some impression of how disinterested I've been in liner notes and so on, I was going through my albums a week or two ago, and I came across an album that I'd bought a couple of years ago. It was still sealed in the cellophane, but because I'd got a download code, so it's straight into my computer and I can listen to it. I'd never even taken the album that I'd got out of the cellophane wrapper.
There's me tutting. I know for a fact I've got some of those where I've actually got the download as well, stuck it on my phone, and I've got there's several albums over there that I've never actually, because I've been listening to it on my phone. I've never had the urge to get it out of the shrink wrap. So I know exactly what you mean.
I tell you something else which is slightly different, but on a similar kind of level of aged kind of confusion. I had an advert come through today from Cold Spring to say that they're releasing the limited edition 300 copies of Coil's Backwards album on red vinyl. There'd only be 300. I thought, fucking can't have that. Bought it, realised that I bought it 2 weeks ago. So don't come out till January, so I've got 2 copies coming. Oh man!
Well, I did. I can go one better than that actually.
Oh, go on then.
A long while ago, I'm a fan of Olivia Rodrigo. So when her second album came out, I ordered it from the website because there was a limited edition, and I ordered it, and then I never got an email through. So I thought, hang on, I've never got an email. Did I order that? I couldn't. So anyway, I ordered it. So when I ordered it, the original version had sold out. So I ordered this other version. That turned up, and then so that turned up. So then the one I ordered turned up. Then the original one turned up. I had ordered it, and then I realised that at some point in the middle, I'd actually ordered a version from Amazon. I took 3 fucking copies of it.
Oh, it's like, God!
God's sake!
What are we like?
Oh, dear. We're old. We're old. That's what we're like.
Old and too easily excited about the prospect of getting a certain new record, and you forget you already got it.
Absolutely.
Oh, never mind.
So anyway, to finish things off, number 5. My number 5. I'm not going to give you clues because you'll never get it.
I'll never get it.
My number 5 are the Sundays.
Right.
And
I know the name, but that's it.
I absolutely love the Sundays. English band, originally formed in '88 at Bristol University by Harriet Wheeler, the singer, and David Gavurin, the guitarist, who I think they were in a relationship. Well, they still are in a relationship, actually.
Are you certain of the pronunciation of his surname?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not really. I'll just.
It sounded like it's
David
ambiguous.
Gavin. I'll try everything. Better to get one right. So they released their first single. Can't Be Sure came out in 1989, and is just glorious. It's just they were touted as the new Smiths, but with a lead singer who's not quite as fucking miserable. That was it, because they came out and they were signed to Rough Trade. Can't Be Sure was just a glorious indie pop song, absolutely fantastic. I remember buying it and bought the 7-inch, and we just I was living in a shared house at the time, and one of my housemates' girlfriends just fell in love with it, and we just got played over and over again. Just such a fabulous slice of just quintessential English sounding indie pop, and it's very English sounding. Her voice, her accent is kind of I don't know what do they call estuary accent?
Oh yeah,
or something.
English.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's very. I can't even describe it really. But it just sounds so English. She had a beautiful voice, absolutely beautiful voice. And the songs were fantastic. They released the first album, Reading, Writing and Arithmetic, came out the next year, 1990. And I actually saw them on tour that year, played at the Corn Exchange. And they were just phenomenal. It was such an awesome gig. And they only played, I think they only had about 11 songs in their catalogue at that time. And they actually ended up coming as I remember, they came back on for an encore and played a couple of songs again.
That sounds like Cataleptic Fate.
Yes, yeah, we just did a fucking set again. So then there was a bit of a gap, and they released Blind in 1991, which another fantastic LP. It's one of those things where nothing ever. I mean, I say this a lot. Nothing ever quite matches. The next album after Blind was Static and Silence, and they never quite. They were brilliant albums, but they never quite reached those heights of Reading, Writing and Arithmetic. But that's like saying, the second, third albums were Empire State high, but the first one was like, higher.
You don't know any other buildings.
I was going to say World Trade Center high, but that seems a bit tasteless these days. It was
your architectural limitations.
Yeah, I had to pick New York, didn't I? I had to. Fucking hell. And then Static and Silence came out in 1994. They toured it. The singles came out, and then they just disappeared. They never actually split up. They just disappeared.
Right.
And apparently, they just thought, fuck it, and went off, had kids. This is David Gavurin and Harriet Wheeler. They married, had kids. They live in North London. And apparently, David Gavurin is best friends with David Baddiel. The comedian.
Yeah.
And he says, they still, they haven't given an interview in 30 years. They've not played in 30 years or thereabouts. But apparently they're still making music, just haven't bothered releasing any of it,
just for themselves.
The drummer of the band was, I think his name was Patrick Hannon. And I'm pretty sure someone interviewed him recently. He said, I've been So they've got a studio at their house. So I've been and put some drum tracks down for the music, but they just won't release it, which is really sad because those 3 albums are just phenomenal, absolutely brilliant. Again,
albeit architecturally kind of in the descendant.
Yeah, architecturally, they do. I should have done mountains. I should have done, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Try and do it for mountains.
Is Everest, and the other 2 are Kilimanjaro.
Okay, you got there.
And then all other albums are Scafell Peak. So there is so they're fantastic, fantastic records. And reading, writing, and arithmetic, I play that all the time. Okay. I've often got that on. It's just such a brilliant LP. And it's really sad. I mean, I don't know whether it's kind of a I wouldn't even want to guess. I mean, whether it's a confidence thing, they just don't think it's going to be good enough, or they just can't be asked with the getting out there and doing the music stuff again. Who knows? There's a guy. There's actually a guy who's he was writing a book about. I don't think it was necessarily about the Sundays, but about bands from British bands from the 90s. And he tried to get in touch with them for an interview, just not interested. He may well have been the guy who interviewed the drummer who said, I'm still, I've done tracks with them. So they live a life of anonymity in North London, and they're happy. They obviously made a few bob off the. I mean, the albums keep getting re-released. Blind and Static and Silence were out of press for quite some time, but I know they've been released on the last couple of or couple of recent record store days in America, and they've just completely sold out. But now I think you can actually get copies of them again on like normal black vinyl as normal releases now. But I've got the first 2. I've never had a copy of Static and Silence. But yeah, the Sundays, fantastic band.
Okay. And well, again, another one that I know the name of, but I've never really explored. I couldn't hum or whistle a single Sundays tune, but it does. Your enthusiasm does suggest that I should go out and have a listen. Maybe on your playlist, if you put something on there, I'll have a listen.
Yes, I will. I'll put one on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that was a quite tough one. I mean, there was lots of bands fronted by females. I mean, the Cocteau Twins are going to have to form some part of our podcast somewhere along the line.
I left them off because we kind of covered them on the 4AD one. Along with Exmal Deutschland.
And
there were a lot of female fronted bands on 4AD as well. I mean, I had several. If I tried not to go into too much depth because I didn't want to kind of fuck myself up by doing so many bands and then go, I can't believe it, I don't know which ones. So I did try and keep it. I did keep it at 5 for quite some time, and then, like I say, I swapped out the photos earlier on today. But if we did another episode in the future with female fronted bands, I could quite easily pick 5 more.
Certainly.
It's not tricky. I'll probably I don't know. I was going to say I listen to a lot more female fronted bands. I do have a preference for female vocalists, I think, over male a lot of the time. I just I don't know why, but
I think that there are more male fronted bands, but
yes,
I don't have a preference either way. If it works, it works, and it can be fabulous or shit, or whatever genre it is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. True. Okay, cool. So that's that's the first of our female fronted ones. As you say, there might well be another because there's lots to go at. What are we doing next week then?
So next week we have decided to do another year, and we've gone for 1997.
That's what we said.
We did, yes.
We had a stab.
Which looks quite promising, actually. There's at least 2 on there that are amongst my faves ever.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and I haven't even... And that was just a quick once-over in a break on Discogs. So if I delve deeper, because again, I imagine a lot of '97 we were back on. We were buying CDs because vinyl was pretty hard to get hold of in those days. Well, there wasn't so much being pressed on vinyl. Yeah. So yeah, I think it should be a good one. So if anyone wants no one fucking bothered last time, but I will ask if anyone wants to do 1997 bingo and try and guess what we're going to come up with. There's a couple of proper obvious ones on there, or for me anyway.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to leave a comment and say, I think you're going to pick these. If not, don't worry about it. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Keep an eye out on the Music is None of Our Business Instagram and TikTok pages for more of my silly videos, which I'm enjoying doing. And Jake hasn't even seen yet, so he doesn't know what an absolute arse I'm making of myself doing these.
It's a whole world denied me.
Yes. So keep an eye out for those. Keep commenting, liking, whatnot, listening to the episodes. They're still going up, the amount of listens we're getting. The first episode is over 100 listens, which I think is pretty, for a couple of dodgy old wankers talking bollocks for an hour and a half is quite phenomenal, really.
Especially when that hour and a half is sometimes 2.5 hours.
yes, and at least half an hour is just chuckling at each other's fucking ineptitudes and whatnot. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for listening, and
thank you. Yes,
we'll leave you and let you go and do your things, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.